My brother made my life miserable, got my wife pregnant, and now, after our parents disowned him and left me their $2 million inheritance, he's come crawling back asking for my help. My younger brother David has always held a deep resentment toward me. If you think it stemmed from jealousy, you'd be wrong. He was the favored child, not me. Our mother doted on him constantly. She made his meals, did his laundry, and even asked me to help him with schoolwork. I was expected to support him just because we were family, but I never received the same treatment in return. I was independent and capable, and maybe that made it easier for everyone to ignore my needs. Perhaps it was my fault for always helping him without expecting anything back. He never offered help when I needed it and only came to me when he wanted something. I was a quiet, introverted child who loved studying and keeping to myself. David, on the other hand, was loud and aggressive, much like our father. I've always been direct and honest, never sugarcoating things. I think my mother saw this as rudeness, which may have contributed to her negative perception of me. David, however, could do no wrong. I didn't mind the favoritism much when we were kids, but things took a dark turn when he started bullying me. He mocked me for wearing glasses, for being shorter, and for being different. He'd sneak into my room, read my diary, and then report its contents to my mother. When I got upset and complained about the invasion of privacy, my parents brushed it off, saying it wasn't a big deal. David escalated from mean pranks to dangerous ones. He once put small stones in my cereal. Thankfully, I noticed before biting down. My mom dismissed it, saying, "That's how brothers bond." When we fought, he would attack my deepest insecurities. We went to the same school, and instead of defending me from bullies, he joined them, calling me names and even encouraging them to beat me up. During one argument over something trivial, he told me to kill myself. That one really hurt, especially since I was already struggling with my mental health at the time. Dad was usually at work, and Mom didn't take my side. She even scolded me once, claiming I must have provoked David. Things got worse in high school. In one shocking incident, David tried to set my hair on fire. And unbelievably, our mother defended him, saying he was just playing. That was the first time Dad truly stepped in. He was furious and warned David that if he ever pulled something like that again, he'd call the police. David was stunned. He had never been punished before. Dad made it clear the bullying needed to stop and that David had to respect me as his older brother. Later, my father came to speak with me privately. I never expected him to support me. He admitted that he had hoped David would grow out of his behavior, but now he realized that David had become a full-blown bully. Hearing this from him almost made me break down. I told him everything, about the years of bullying and even about the torment at school. My father was appalled. The very next day, he visited the school principal and ensured the bullies were warned. That evening, he enrolled me in MMA classes and told me I needed to learn how to stand up for myself. It was hard at first, being the nerdy kid at the gym, but I was determined. I balanced my studies and training, and it transformed me both physically and mentally. One day, David stole the pocket money I had been saving from chores. I caught him as he was about to ride off on his bike. When I confronted him, he mocked me, saying I'd just go crying to Dad again. I don't know what came over me. I punched him in the face. He fell to the ground, stunned, and I took my money back. He started crying, and the sight was honestly comical. Mom came running and, as usual, scolded me instead of him. She said I should be a better role model. When Dad came home and asked what happened, I calmly explained everything. David admitted he stole the money and tried to justify it by saying he needed it for a date. Dad told him that stealing was a serious offense and that he was lucky I hadn't called the police. David threw a tantrum, but it didn't work this time. Dad remained firm. That moment marked a shift. David began to distance himself from me. He finally understood he could no longer bully me with impunity. Despite the physical abuse stopping, he continued with verbal insults and passive-aggressive behavior. If he had to say something to me, he would do it through our mother. When I asked why he couldn't speak to me directly, she always told me to be more understanding. I couldn't tell whether it was just teenage angst or genuine hatred. Eventually, I left for university on a scholarship. Dad threw me a celebration, and even Mom seemed proud. David, however, barely acknowledged my achievement. Leaving home felt like escaping a toxic environment. At university, I flourished, made new friends, excelled in my studies, and for the first time, felt peace. In my second year, I met my wife Karen at a party. We connected instantly. When she became pregnant in our final year, we decided to get married. Coming from a conservative background, I wanted to do the right thing. Karen was everything I ever wanted. I stayed loyal, despite other women expressing interest over the years. Unfortunately, I later discovered that she had cheated on me, twice. The first time was an ongoing affair with a married coworker. The second was a fling with an ex during a visit to her family. I forgave her both times, hoping we could give our son a stable family. Things seemed to improve, until 3 months ago. Karen confessed she had been in a long-term affair with David, my brother. I was in shock. When I asked for an explanation, she coldly admitted they had grown close when she stayed at my parents' house over the holidays. She wanted to bond with my family and spent a lot of time with my mother and David. They became friends, hung out, played video games. I never thought much of it. Karen said that David confided in her after a breakup, and during one of their chats, things escalated. She claimed it was a mistake, but the affair continued even after we got married. She even admitted that David might be the real father of our son. I was devastated. I asked her if they were still involved. She nodded. I packed my bags and left. Karen begged me to stay, saying children shouldn't grow up in broken homes. But I couldn't look at her anymore. Or our son. I went to my parents and told them everything. My mother initially defended David, but I tricked him into admitting the truth on a speakerphone call, right in front of our parents. He tried blaming Karen, claiming women were just drawn to him, but it didn't matter. The truth was out. My father was furious. He disowned David, cut off his college fund, and vowed to leave him only $1 in his will. My mother, though shocked, finally saw who David really was. For the first time, I felt vindicated. After that, I filed for divorce. The paternity test confirmed David was the father of the boy I had raised. It was the most painful moment of my life. Karen asked me to stay in our son's life, but I couldn't. The resemblance to David was too strong, and I needed space to heal. Months passed. My father stood by his decision and is rewriting his will to leave everything to me, nearly $2 million in assets. David eventually found out, thanks to my mother, who broke our trust again, and he called me begging for help. He said he was broke, had dropped out of college, and was being chased for child support. I told him he made his bed and now had to lie in it. He cried, said everyone, including our extended family, had turned on him. It hurt a little to see him like that. But after all he did, I felt no guilt. Many assumed my mother told David about the will. She did. When confronted, she admitted she felt David had suffered enough. My dad gave her an ultimatum. If she contacted David again, their marriage would be over. She chose to stay. It's been 5 months. I'm doing better. My relationship with my parents, especially my dad, is stronger than ever. We spend weekends together, and he treats me more like a friend now. My mother has kept her distance from David. David and Karen are now living together, raising the child. He works part-time as a mechanic. I've moved into my own place, was recently promoted, and am focusing on therapy and healing. For those asking, I'm not ready to date again. But for the first time in years, I feel free.